Avasthatraya by Sri Sachidanandendra Saraswati Swamiji, Holy Narsipura, Karnataka, India. We had seen first session yesterday. Today is the second session in this. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Dr. Krishnamurti Shastri, Dambe, Punacha, Karnataka, India. So, yesterday we had seen waking and dream state. Today, deep sleep. We shall continue. Like waking and dream, sleep also presents a Maic aspect to the monobasic view wrapped by its partiality for waking. From that thought position, we regard sleep as a passing cloud of ignorance in which we are daily enveloped, and as a temporary inactivity into which we are daily thrust by nature. But so soon as we try to assume the philosophic position of the witness of the three states, this much neglected state comes to have entirely another meaning for us, which we can ill afford to ignore. It is then seen to be an intuition of our true nature divested of its apparent individuality and its personality, and an experience unburdened with the complex psychic machinery of the ego, the mind, and the senses. Nothing like the waking or dream world, nor the network of time and space in which it is enmeshed, is to be met with here in the sleep. We are indeed lifted up to our own self, which is unalloyed bliss, unconditioned by the fatigue of the action and enjoyment. None of the limitations of either waking or dream have entrance here. Saint and sinner, rich and poor, man and woman, child and adult, all shed their respective limiting adjuncts before they enter the portals of this sleep, their own kingdom of heaven. Without tarrying to consider the most glowing terms in which the ineffable glory of this peculiar state is described by the Upanishads, such as Brihadaranyaka and Chandogya, I shall just invite the attention of the reader to the twofold aspect of their peculiar expression of reality, for we may contemplate on it in its relation to dream and waking, or reflect upon its intrinsic worth as a distinct experience in itself. In its relative phase, we have to admit that sleep, whose sole content is pure consciousness, untainted by a second, is essentially the cause of dream or waking. That, in other words, pure consciousness, intuited as unlimited in sleep, somehow manifests itself in the other two states as subject and object, and appears as the ego endowed with a body, senses, and the mind on the one hand, and as a world governed by the laws of time, space, and causation on the other. This pure consciousness has to be supposed as invested with an inscrutable power, in virtue of which it brings into existence this magnificent universe, and after sustaining it for a while, dissolves it into itself without a residuum. As the Mandukya says, Esha Sarveshwara, Esha Sarvajna, Esha Ontaryamya, Esha Yonis Sarvasya, Prabhavapya Yauhi Bhutanam. This is the Lord of all. He is omniscient. He is the internal controller. He is the one source of all, the origin and dissolution of all beings. Apyaya means laya, dissolution. At the same time, however, we cannot forget that the three states so called are really no states of consciousness. In the first place, the witnessing principle in us, which is no other than pure consciousness, remains intact, quite unaffected by the appearance or disappearance of these states. And in the second place, the three states admit neither of juxtaposition in space nor of succession in time. Strictly speaking, therefore, we ought to conclude that sleep is only pure consciousness, which, as having no relation whatever with its manifestation in the shape of ego and non ego, is neither waking nor dreaming nor sleeping at any time. It is therefore neither cause nor effect from this absolute standpoint. It is this phase of sleep as identical with the ever changeless Atman that is described as the fourth Chaturtham Manyante as Atma relatively to the empirical egos of the three states and serves as the theme of Ajativada, non genesis, found in the Gaudapada's famous explanation of that Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad. We may now briefly recapitulate the salient points of the Vedantic method of avasthas which we have touched upon in the course of this short essay. The method assumes nothing, entails no belief in authority, and seeks the aid of no special intuition. It builds upon the fundamentals of human experience and insists that all the three avasthas, the waking, dream, and sleep, should be investigated before we can light upon the absolute reality underlying the manifestations of life. It sympathetically points out the basic error involved in speculations which confine the application of reason to the facts of waking state, and while admitting the practical utility of such speculations so far as they go, it shows their utter futility and helplessness in constructing a science of reality. By a procedure peculiarly its own, it teaches us to look upon each of the three states as a complete expression of reality, and then equating each of them to the other to arrives at the remarkable result that our Atman, as the witnessing consciousness of all the three states, is really the highest reality, free from the taint of all the three illusory avasthas which are superimposed upon it by the empirical understanding, is in brief essentially nothing short of pure being, pure consciousness, and pure bliss. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means the pure being or existence, Chit means pure consciousness, and Ananda means pure bliss. The following benedictory verse, with which Shankara begins his masterly commentary on the Mandukya Upanishad, contains in 4 lines the sum and substance of Vedantic teaching based on this unique method of avasthas. प्रज्ञानां प्रतानैः स्थिरचरनिकरव्यापिभिर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् स्थविष्टान् पुनरपि धिषणोद्भासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् स्वपिति मधुरभुङ् मायया भोजयन्नो मायासङ्ख्यातुरीयं परम अमृतमजं ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि. That which pervades the worlds through its rays of consciousness, spread out and diffused in animate and inanimate beings, and thus experiences the gross pleasures and pains in waking, and once more in dreams, the subtle ones fancied by mind and born of desire. That which absorbs within itself all distinctions and sleeps, enjoying bliss, thus causing us through its Maya to taste all these states, to that which is the fourth relatively to this illusory number 3, but is absolutely the highest, immortal, unborn Brahman, I make obeisance. That is salutations, or I surrender. Like that. So, this is the Avasthatraya by Sri Sri Sachidanandendra Saraswati Swamiji. This is the second session and the final session also. This completes this book. Later we will see Avasthatraya Viveka by Sri Devarao Kulakarni in the next session in detail about this Avasthatraya. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Sachidanandarpitamastu.